In this video, we're going to talk about how to review a return. I'm just going to go over a sample one that I have planted a few errors in. When you do an actual review at the site, you need to review all documents and all inputs. The tax preparer before you will have put everything in. You're just looking to make sure it's correct, and you're looking to see if any red flags come up. So, for example, the information, the taxpayer's name and address, all of that stuff will be put in. Your job is to look and make sure that it is put in correctly. It's also your job to make sure that all of the tax documents were entered correctly with no errors, and to make sure that when you're looking through the dependents, you're satisfied that they are in fact qualifying dependents. So let's just kind of start and go through. What I want you to do when you take your reviewing test, I want you to identify the source of the error. So don't identify every single stinking time it shows up, right? I just want you to tell me what form the error was made on and what the correct answer should be. So I'm going to start here, and when we look at the taxpayer's information, we see that she's Charlotte Cunningham. For those of you watching the video in a year when we did the Cunningham return, you'll know that Robert Cunningham should not be on the return. They decided to file separately, but Annie Cunningham should. So when we look through the information, we're going to be looking for Charlotte's name to be spelled correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the basic information section and make sure all of this stuff was entered correctly. So the filing status, we said that she's not going to be filing with her husband, which would normally be married filing separately, but in this return we know they haven't lived together the last 6 months of the year, and she has a qualifying dependent, so she can actually be head of household. Filing status is right. So when we go into the basic information, the first thing we see is that her name is not spelled correct. It should be Charlotte. Now here's the deal. When you do the reviewing tests, don't make any adjustments, because other people after you may use this same version of the return. I've created several returns that have several different errors, but you don't want to mess this up for anybody who's going to do it after you, because probably more than one person will see this return. So you would write on your paper that this is an error and what the correct amount or what the correct name in this case should be. Also, the middle initial is incorrect. When we look at Charlotte's information, we see that she should be Charlotte C. Cunningham. So again, another error, right? Her name is all kinds of wrong. Then we would go through and make sure all of these other items are correct. You'll check the Social Security number against the Social Security card, which is down here, 041001111. And that's incorrect. And again, you won't change it, but you'll write that down as an error. The date of birth, we go check that against the intake form, and it is kind of hard to look sideways, so we will have these printed off for you at the site. But her date of birth is 1/21/63. 1/21/63. Finally, something is right here. And you'll just go through and check everything, check the address, check the phone number, and you'll go through. You will check every single section in this. I can tell you I didn't make any changes to the dependent information, but I would still check it out. I would go in and I would make sure that we have everything entered correctly as far as the spelling, the birth date, Social Security number, relationship, the whole 9 yards. Okay, then I'm going to go through the income item by item. Here's her W-2, and I'm going to compare it against the W-2 that we have for the taxpayer. And again, you have to make sure everything is right. The employer identification number, the employee's social, wages, the federal income tax withheld all the numbers. Everything should be checked, including the check boxes, including the state information. Check everything. When I go in and I check everything, I know that the top information is correct. I scroll down here. I found another error. The federal tax withheld was slightly off. Instead of it being 8010, which is what they entered, it should have been 8014. Always round up to the nearest dollar. So you would take a few minutes and look through, check everything else, make sure it looks right. And as I'm coming down here, I see that there's the state of Mississippi, and that's a little puzzling because we live in Missouri. Let's make sure that's correct. No, that's not correct. It should be Missouri. So I come down here, I put that down as another error. They were one state off. It should have been, they should have chosen Missouri, they chose Mississippi. And again, we're not changing it. I'm just showing you how simple it is to make those errors. It's really easy. You click on the wrong thing, you accidentally type in the wrong number, and it can throw the tax return off in a big way. Then we go into state and local refunds. It looks like for some reason there was a filing status entered in there but no amount, and that's correct. As far as there should be no amount, she didn't have a refund. Go in and look at interest and dividends. She had interest income from Asia Financial Bank for $53. Let's make sure that that is right. Here's her interest income. $539 is what it should be, rounded up to the nearest dollar. So we have to go in and enter that on our sheet as another error. And when I plant errors for the reviewing test, they could be anywhere at all, and there could be more than one on one form, and there could be other forms that are entirely untouched. And the last form that we need to check is this cancellation of debt. Prairie Bank, the EFIN, and the amount. Let's check and see if those are all right. That's the 1095. Here we go. So the amount is correct. The bank is correct. The EFIN 05-5 and then a bunch of ones. Nope, it's not right. They put in 06. So again, you've identified another error. If we go back to the information, I just scrolled past it. You see that the person has marketplace insurance. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to make sure that the healthcare section looks right. So health insurance. And you'll just go in, you'll walk through the questions, make sure the questions are answered correctly. Did they have health insurance at any time in 2017? Yes. If you read this problem, you will see that they had marketplace insurance all year long. And again, we can see that here they were covered all year. You can see these amounts and these totals, right? So going back into the software, did you purchase health insurance from the marketplace? Yes. And we've listed everybody that's on that 1095A. Was your entire household insured for all 12 months? Yes. Did you receive a 1095A statement or any premium tax credits to assist you? Yes. So again, you go through and you just make sure that all of these items are answered correctly. Do all forms 1095A include coverage for January through December with no changes in monthly amounts? Yes. And if that's answered yes, you can just put in the total amounts down here at the bottom from line 33, which is what the person did. I will tell you that it's important to check that because a common error I see is that people will want to put in the monthly amount. If there have been no changes on this 1095A, you have to make sure the number is coming from line 33 and not one of the other lines. Okay, so they have filled that out correctly. And if when you're going through here, if you're not sure about something on the healthcare, make sure to ask, because the reviewer is the last line of defense for making sure everything is filled out correctly. This one was a really quick review, and I know I made it seem super simple, again, because I knew where all of the errors were, so I scrolled you through it quickly. But you kind of get the gist. You need to look at every single thing and make sure it matches up to the documentation that you have. This is what you'll be expected to do. When we do the reviewing tests in class, there could be anywhere from 5 to 10 errors, and I'm not going to tell you exactly how many you're looking for, because sometimes people will make things up even when they don't find them. And I want you to only point out the legitimate errors and where you see them and how they can be corrected.